What's up everybody? In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 very profitable ways to find books using a software called Keepa. It's actually way easier than you think, and these are all books that came in the last few days. As I mentioned, the software we're going to be using is called Keepa. If you're somebody who comes from the Amazon world, you know how important Keepa is. And if you don't know what Keepa is, that's okay. Just go over to the Google Chrome web store, go ahead and download that extension. But for all the features I'm about to show you, you do need to pay a monthly subscription, and it is by far worth it. Alright, the first underutilized tool we're going to use is called the Keepa Deals page. So all you do is you go to the Keepa homepage, you click this button here that says Deals, and from there you can set all these different parameters to find the exact book that you're looking for. So in this search that I have right now, I'm looking for used books that have dropped over the last week by at least 50% for a dollar amount of at least $30, and currently right now are on Amazon for between $0 and $32. I've gotten up to a 2 million rank in books, which is quite high, but I like to look at books that are high sales rank, and you can see that I'm also sorting by the drop percentage. Now those specific parameters actually return 317 results for books, and you can see that these are all the books below. And by the way, you could use this for a whole bunch of other different product categories. I just use this for books because that's what I focus on. Now before I show you the results that were returned with that search, let me go and show you some real books that I flipped using those exact same criteria. This first book here is the Essential English and Spanish Dictionary. You can see I purchased this on December 20th, and if we scroll all the way down to the Keepa chart, you can see that on December 20th, this book saw a very sharp decline in price over a one-day period. It basically went from $70 all the way down to $11.17, and that's when I picked up this book. And then you can clearly see that I turned around and flipped it for some pretty good money. This loose leaf over here, this Assessment in Special Education, I bought this on January 5th, and again, if we scroll down the Keepa chart, you can see that on January 5th there was a very sharp decrease in price over a couple day period, went all the way down to $37, and I was able to flip mine for over $150 here. The exact same story with this book here. I bought this on November 5th, 2022, and if we scroll down to the Keepa chart, again you can see that there is this one-time drop in price where basically the price went from $86 all the way down here to right about $11.04, and then I was able to send it in and sell mine for over $70. Here's yet another book. This was called Information Security. I bought this on November 5th, and we again scroll down to the Keepa chart, you can see that the price of this dropped all the way from $89 down to $11.04, and I also bought that book. I was able to send this in, and this sold pretty quick for about $85. And just one more example, this is the Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt, a 3-volume set. Purchased this on November 12th, and again if we scroll down to the Keepa chart, you can see that this book had sold for over $300, then very quickly went down in price all the way down to about $18 to $20. I was able to pick up a couple copies there, actually 2 copies, and I was able to sell both of those copies for over $200. Since you've seen a few examples of books that I bought, let's go ahead and see some of the books that were returned with this search. This Physics of Plasmas book looks pretty interesting to me. You can see that it's held a pretty good used price over the last year. Hasn't sold a ton, but it definitely has been selling. And then you can see that recently here, the price of this book has started to go down, and now it's down to the point where it's about $28. Now personally, this is probably not quite undervalued enough, but it's getting there. Here's another example with this Atonement book. You can see that over the last year, it has sold about 4 or 5 times for over $70, and then recently saw a pretty large decrease in price all the way down to about $25. Again, not quite enough margin, but that's kind of what we're looking for. Same thing over here with this Bayesian Structural Equation Modeling book. You can see that it's been selling for over about $50 to $60 year round, and then recently you can see that this is actually starting to undergo a repricing war. It's getting all the way down to about $25. Again, not quite profitable, but again, heading there. This one over here, this Physiological Test for Elite Athletes, this actually is looking probably the most solid. Number of sales of over $70. Most recently, some sales over $80. There's been a repricing war. You can see the book has come down to right around $25, and I'd say that's probably a solid pickup right there. And when I open this book up on Amazon, you can actually see that if we look at some of the offers, we got one here at 25, another one at 25, then 29, then it goes up to 42 and 88, and then 96. So the idea here would be to buy maybe 1 or 2 of those lower copies, and then wait for textbook season to come back around, and then you could probably sell it back for what it was selling for in the past. Now the reason why the Keepa Deals page is so useful is because a lot of times people misprice their book on Amazon. They either don't know what they should be pricing the book for, usually that'd be if they're a new seller, and so they might come on the listing and price it really cheaply. Another reason might be that someone just makes an error with what they list the price at. They might mean to list it for $80 and they forget the 0 and list it for $8. And then the third reason is just usually if 2 or more sellers have really aggressive reprices, which can usually happen between like Goodwill, Thrift Books, and other big book selling companies. Now the second very underutilized Keepa feature is the Product Finder tool. Once you're on the Keepa homepage, you can go ahead and click this data tab, then you can go all the way over to the Product Finder, and then you're going to be on this page where you can basically do the same exact thing that you did on the deals page, but just be way more nuanced with it. And remember everybody, you can use this not just for books, but you can use it for literally any category in Amazon. I'm going to make a really refined search here. The first thing that I'm going to do is look for books that have a rank anywhere between 1 and 1.5 million. I'm going to want Amazon to be out of stock here, so I'm going to click this Amazon out of stock button, and then I also want the new third-party price to be at least $85 if there is an Amazon, new third-party seller on the listing. Now, in terms of use price, I want to find a book that is anywhere between $10 and $20 right now. And over the last 30 days, I want the average to be anywhere between $20 and $30. And then over the last 90 days, I want that average to be anywhere between $30 and higher. Now, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page because I'm specifically looking for books. So I'm going to click the all root categories. I'm going to come down here and select books. And if you look here at the bottom, you can see that actually returned 91 products. So I'm going to click this find products button. And then this is basically going to load up all the products that meet those parameters specifically. Now, before I show you the results of that search, let me show you some real books that I found using this method that actually flipped for some pretty good money. The first book here, this College Physics Loose Leaf, you can see I bought this on December 31st. And you can see if we're down here at the Keepa chart, December 31st was right before this big repricing war occurred. Found this with the Product Finder tool. I was able to pick this up for right around 13 bucks. And then once I was able to buy those undervalued copies, you can see the price went right back up to 95. A couple sales happened. I was able to sell mine for over 100 bucks. Here's another book called The Plants of the Chicago Region. I actually bought this on a different website using Book Finder, but looking down here at the Keepa chart, you can actually see the point when I did go ahead and buy this. This was when the used price went from $127 all the way down right to about 30 bucks. And then the used price recovered very quickly right after that, and I was able to sell mine for over 100 bucks. This book here, Race Relations in America, I was actually able to pick up 4 copies of this on April 29th. And April 27th was right about the time when this book went from about $27 all the way down to about $3.09. You can see the price quickly recovered right after that, and again, I was able to sell all 4 copies over 50 bucks. And lastly, we have The Tarot of the Old Path. Bought this on November 8th. Same sort of story here on November 8th. If we scroll down here, we can see that price of this went all the way down to about $4.94. Again, the price quickly recovered, and then I was able to sell mine for over 50 bucks. Let's go jump back into the results from the Product Finder search that we just did to see if there's anything that could be profitable. All right, one of the first few results is actually really interesting. This is a book that sold once back in April for over 100 bucks. Then the price steadily went all the way down. This is in repricing where it's all the way down to right around $16 now. If we expand the data out a little bit more, we can see that this was actually pretty consistently selling for right around the $50 mark back in 2020 and 2021. So I'm not sure if it's quite to the price where I'm comfortable picking up a copy because it doesn't really move much, but there is historical data to show that this could potentially flip for some good money. All right, here's another one of these search results, Mama Agata, Traditional Italian Recipes. You can see that this book has actually been moving pretty well, about $50 to $60. And then back here recently in December, actually went down to about 11, went back up in price, sold a couple times right around 60, and then it's come back all the way down to right around 10 or 11 bucks. So I feel like this is completely undervalued. You could probably pick up a copy and probably flip it for about 50 bucks. Now, just to be a little bit more sure, we can actually expand the data all the way to 3,000 days, and this clearly is a book that holds some pretty good value. So again, I think this is completely undervalued, and this would be a good flip. Here's yet another book, this Enemy Lines, a Star Wars book. This has been moving in the last 3 months a little bit for about $30 plus. And then recently you can see there's been a little repricing war between 2 sellers. Price of this book all the way down to about $7 plus shipping. So this could potentially be a good deal as well. You might be able to pick it up for about $10 and then flip it back for about $40. Alright, so I think you get the point there. The Product Finder tool is basically just like the Deals tab, but just way more specific, way more detailed. And by the way, you can use this for a whole bunch of other products, not just books, but again, that's what I specifically do. So now let's actually go into my favorite way to find books, and that's using Keepa alerts or using the Keepa Track product feature. The last super underutilized Keepa feature is the track product feature, or also known as Keepa alerts. And if you click this button right above the Keepa graph called the track product feature, you can track any product that you want in new condition from Amazon, a third party, or in used condition. And you can also go advanced or pro, which will also include things like if you want to include offer counts, which could be also very helpful. Now, to keep this super basic, just stay on the basic tab here. But the idea here is you're trying to find a book that has gone down in value in the past and would have been such a great deal that it would have made a lot of sense to buy it then and then resell it in the future. And here's a great example of a book that you could track that came from the Product Finder search result we just looked at a minute ago. This Growing Carnivorous Plants, you can see over the last year has had some pretty good value. It was selling north of $50 over the first 6 months of the previous year. Then went down in price a little bit, was selling for right around 30. And then you notice that actually during November, December, the price of this book got all the way down to $6. Now, if you were tracking this book for $6 or $7, you would have been notified via email, telegram, or web notification that, hey, this book potentially is undervalued. Take a look at it. And this is a book that if I were tracking, I would have 100% bought. And let me show you why. When we go over here to the product listing, you can see that the buy box is basically close to $50. And that's not even a prime seller. But again, based on my Keepa research, I think pretty easily this book should be able to move for about $50 from a prime seller. And the cost price back then, if you would have got alerted, would have been around $10 with shipping included. So over here at SellerAmp, you would have spent $10, you would have flipped it for $50, you would have made a profit of $21. And again, I think that's something that's very realistic. Now, if you're not familiar, this is a tool called SellerAmp. They also have a really great way for you to keep track of every single way that you found your book, also for you to track it using Google Sheets. And there's also quite a few other features there. So if you want to support the channel, link down in the description, get a free trial. All right, with that said, let me show you a few examples of books that I have actually tracked and sold for some pretty good profit. I actually picked up 2 copies of this book called Patterns of Fashion 2 on July 4th, 2022. Down here on Keepa, you can see that the price of this book basically went from $165, went all the way down, and then hit my tracker right under 30 bucks. I was notified, picked up both those copies, and I picked up these 2 copies because based upon the previous history, I saw that this book was moving for well over 100 bucks. And then if we go to current day, clearly you're able to see the price rebounded all the way back up to $70 pretty much instantly, then went up to $169. I was actually able to sell both copies for almost 200 bucks. One of my favorite books to flip, Pictures by Jeff Bridges. I bought this on September 11th, and we scroll down the Keepa chart, you can see that back here during September 11th, you can see that the price of this book went from about $167 and over about a 10-day period went all the way down to about $47. Picked up a couple copies of that and was able to sell both of my copies for close to 200 bucks. This Essentials of Fire Department, bought this on July 2nd of 2023. I've actually bought this twice because my tracker is notified multiple times. You can see that this book has seen these periods of repricing wars where basically the price of this book has come all the way down and then shot right back up. So I was able to pick up a few copies of this and sell mine for well over 100 bucks. Here's yet another example, Occupational Biomechanics. Bought this on June 22nd of 2022. And if we look at June 22nd, this was the point in time where basically the price of this book went from $73, went all the way down to hit my tracker. I was able to pick this up for about $19 plus shipping, and then I was able to go ahead and sell mine up here for right around 85 bucks. Picked up this Bontrager's Handbook on October 5th of 2022. Same exact story here. The price was right around $82. It actually started going down in price. I actually discovered it with the Keepa Deals page. Decided it was still a little bit too expensive at 28, so I tracked it. And then a few days later, it hit my new tracker right below 20 bucks. Picked up a copy there for right around 18. I was able to sell mine for over 60 bucks. The way that the track product feature works is super simple. You're just trying to find books that have seen this ebb and flow pattern in their price in the past, and then all you really need to decide is at what price is this book going to be very profitable, what price is it so cheap that it makes no sense not to pick it up, and then just set a keep alert for that price. And again, the way that you do that is you just come over here, click this track product button here, you'd go ahead and start tracking it. You would see this page here, you just go ahead and input the use price that you want to track the book at. You could also track books in new third-party condition or new Amazon condition, and I have done that, but that's for another video. All right, everybody, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to join the Joji's Book Flippers Discord group, that's linked below down in the description. I'm now also offering one-on-one coaching, so if that interests you, go ahead and click the link below in the description. Now, lastly, if you want to learn how to buy books on eBay and flip those on Amazon, I got the perfect video for you right here.